Well, Cosatu says it has noted the judgment of the Constitutional Court denying the Commissioner of Correctional Services leave to appeal the appellate court ruling that former President Jacob Zuma release from prison or his release from prison on medical parole was unlawful, but has also called on law enforcement agencies to be on high alert. Well, Cosatu Parliamentary Coordinator Mr. Matthew Parks joins us on Zoom for more. Mr. Parks, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Look, with an economy still left devastated by, of course, the July 2021 riots, most workers there lost their jobs. Many are still rebuilding. What do you think this decision potentially means for companies and workers should there be a repeat of the unrest, sir?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. So look, as a trade union movement, our interest is about workers' jobs, about the economy is rebuilding. First, we respect the Constitutional Court and think all South Africans should respect it. It is the ultimate authority on the law. But I think for us, what's really critical is for government not to be found caught napping like it was 2 years ago. We saw what happened 2 years ago when there was a significant backlash against the ruling previously. Yes, it was orchestrated by criminal elements, opportunist elements, political elements, and so forth. But I think what we really want to see is for the law enforcement organs to be prepared. Make sure the police, the defense force, the intelligence, if they still exist, do the work properly, put in place measures to make sure that people can feel assured that their safety is protected, that the economic activities, the transport routes, workers' ability to go to work, etc., is assured, because we simply can't afford all the dramas we have. Week after week, we just cannot afford another drama. So we hope that government will be well prepared. We would want to assume that nobody would want to misbehave. But those people who have a tendency to want to misbehave, we hope the police and the intelligence authorities do know who they are and can go and collect them if they show such an appetite. But I think for us right now, the government needs to be proactive, needs to be on the ground, and needs to give a message to society, to workers, to investors, etc., that they are prepared and there will be no tolerance at all for any misbehavior.
Look, Mr. Parks, we have also cautioned the lawmakers about the decisions made that could plunge the country, of course, into turmoil, but also calling for this in line with respect for the rule of law as enshrined in our Constitution.
Yeah, look, I think we feel for quite a few years we've played a little bit fast and loose with the laws. We've seen at times that people who are powerful, the laws are fully implemented to them. We've seen that there's been a general kind of lack of adherence to ensuring the law is enforced at all levels across the country. It really has given rise to huge levels of corruption, state capture, gender-based violence, crime. It's just a real problem across the board. So I think for us, the police have to be seen in the courts and the National Prosecuting Authority really have to be seen at all times to uphold the law no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what the offense is. That's how we're going to rebuild the country. You have to make sure that you're seen, that no matter how powerful you might be, or what connections you might have, or what money or resources you might have, or fancy lawyers, the law will be applied to you. Because right now, society does feel that at times, if you're rich and powerful, you can get away with a lot of things. But if you're poor and vulnerable, well, then the law will be applied to you and to you only. And that can't be sustainable or tolerated.
Now, Mr. Parks, how can we, not just as workers or business owners, but as South Africans in general, protect our assets and also be part of ensuring that we do not see a repeat of July 2021?
I think for our side, we saw July 2021 that people misbehaved. We had people who opportunistically joined in the looting, went to shopping centers, packed flat screen TVs in the back of Mercedes Benzes, etc. So I think one is for society, for individuals not to join any misbehavior. I think for society also to give support to the police officers who generally are trying their level best to enforce the law, to protect society, protect people's rights, to assist the police when we see people misbehaving, again, to report them. Because we saw that violence during July 2021 didn't just fall out of the blue. People could see in the ground, people being orchestrated, etc. We saw many positive instances in Gauteng, for example, where people decided to protect shopping centers, for example, where many workers have jobs, people have investments, etc. And that is a positive thing. Obviously, you don't want to go into some acts of vigilantism, which we had seen in some parts of Kenya, which spiraled out of control and became another problem. But I think if government's to succeed, then society also has to assist, because it's not government who bribes the traffic officer, government who chooses to litter, to beat their wife, etc. All the small elements of criminality which feed into a general system of lawlessness. So I think all of us do have a role to play to assist government. Of course, government itself must also be seen to be implementing the rule of law no matter what at all times.
Look, Mr. Parks, maybe just to go back to our previous question there. I mean, I know you've called on law enforcement agencies to be on high alert. I mean, the general excuse in 2021 was the fact that they were not well prepared, they were not well equipped, they were basically just simply overwhelmed. Do you think this time around they'll be well prepared?
We hope so. But, time and again, we've been disappointed. We've seen over the past week quite a worrying spate of vandalism, arson attacks upon trucks. And that's quite worrying, especially on key economic transport routes like from Gauteng to KwaZulu-Natal to Durban, etc. And we can't afford these kind of own goals. I think we've really become, unfortunately, a society where we have a proliferation of own goals all the time, where government does not speak to itself. People in society misbehave and take advantage of weakness in government, and we can't afford it. So I think for us is that we saw, yesterday headlines that the Richards Bay port has been partially closed because of an issue of environmental pollution. That's a huge blow. So having a blow like that yesterday, we're still dealing with the issue of load shedding, etc., etc. We just can't afford for this. So we really do hope the security institutions, the members of cabinet responsible, are really on top of the game. Because this is not an obvious, this is not a secret what's happened. We really hope they will spare us a repeat of what we saw 2 years ago.